Good morning, Year 8, and this is your lesson on what are the different types of images. For this lesson you will need a pen, a piece of paper and a ruler. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is just to jot your title down there. So you've got a little recap to complete there, so what I want you to do is just think of 5 different image file formats and I will give you 3 minutes to do this. And you've got 30 seconds left. Right, now here's some examples that you could have. There's just 5 there, you could have plenty more, but you've got a JPEG, a GIF, a PNG, a bitmap and then a TIFF. And we're going to just quickly refresh just what the different file formats are on the next few slides. So JPEG, small file size used by cameras and for images on the internet. GIF, small file size again, used on the internet for images that have large blocks of colour. A PNG, small to medium file size, designed to replace a GIF, it's slowly grown in use. Bitmap, it's a large file size, however rarely used these days. And then a TIFF, which is a tagged image file format, very large file size, primarily used for the printing industry. Okay, now looking at keywords, so there's 10 keywords. I want you to jot them down on your piece of paper and then I want you to come up with a definition for them, please. So you can use the internet. Now there is 10 keywords, so we'll go about 30 seconds per word. Off you go. And you're into your final minute now. Okay, so let's have a little look at these keywords. So, first one, bit depth. The number of bits available to store an audio sample. Bitmap, an image made up of pixels. This type of image loses quality if its width and or height are increased. CAD, computer aided design, the use of computers to assist in any of the phases of product design. Number 4, color depth, the amount of bits available for colors in an image. Number 5, file compression, a method of reducing file sizes, particularly in digital media such as photos, audio and video. Number 6, infographic, a graphical image which contains or is generated from data. Number 7, metadata, data about data, e.g. photo image files have data about where the photo was taken and which camera took the picture. Number 8, pixel, one of the individual units often called dots that make up an image. Number 9, resolution, the fineness of detail that can be seen in an image. The higher the resolution of an image, the more detail it holds. In computing terms, resolution is measured in dots per inch, which is also known as DPI. And number 10 is vector. So an image stored as a mathematical instructions for how to draw it. This means its width and height can be increased without the loss of quality. So give yourself a tick for each one of them that you got right, please. Right, okay, so we're now going to look at lossy and lossless compression. Okay, so what I would like you to do is click on that website link if you can. However, if you can't, you need to go to Google and then type in BBC Bitesize explaining file compression. Now that's the bit in the red on the slide. Now the video is about 38 seconds long, so the time you go into Google and then type that in, I'll give you a minute and a half to get that video watched. Off you go. So that's 2 minutes there, so you should have watched that video. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to write a sentence which says lossy compression is, and then you need to put a definition down, and then after that, whereas lossless compression is, and then you need to say how the two differ. Now, if you need to watch a video again, that's fine, you can do that. So I'll give you 2.5 minutes to watch it again and then write down your definition. Off you go. and 30 seconds left. So if you have finished, just check over your answer and check your spag, etc. So let's just have a little look now in a bit more detail. So with lossy compression, some data is removed and discarded, thereby reducing the overall amount of data and the size of the file. An image can be compressed by reducing its color depth. This reduces the range of colors that the image contains. In practice, this results in an averaging of shades of colors. For example, a very light shade of green could be averaged with a not so light shade. The very light shade might be discarded and the pixels affected by it recolored with the darker shade. So various lossy standards exist. The JPEG file format works on this principle, which is why JPEG files tend to be smaller in size. The MPEG file format compresses audio and video, making it more suitable for streaming media. And the MP3 is a lossy format for audio, including music. So essentially, lossy compression will reduce the quality, but it's not going to be noticeable to humans. Okay, just bear that in mind. This differs to lossless compression. So there are some files that programmers do not want to lose data from, for example, text files, spreadsheets, financial records, and emails. With lossless compression, files are reduced in size without the loss of data. However, lossless compression does not usually achieve the same file size reduction as lossy compression. Various lossless standards exist, e.g. PDF allows lossless compression of text files, and a GIF is a lossless image file format. So just think of it as you've got a text file up there that might have 100 words in it. Okay, now this isn't exactly how it works, but it's the same context. You don't want to send that file over via an email using lossless compression for it to be then received by whoever's getting it and it to only have 90 words. Because if you're reading back through that document, you're missing 10 words and then it's not going to make sense. Okay, same with financial records. If you're keeping a track of how much money your business is making from January all the way down to December, you don't just want to randomly find that it's missed July's data out, because you're not going to get a true representation of what it should be. Okay, looking at bitmap and vector images. So bitmap images are widely used on digital cameras, smartphones, and online. Common bitmap image file types include a JPEG, a GIF, and a PNG. Bitmaps are also known as pixel maps or raster graphics. Bitmap images are organized as a grid of colored squares called pixels, or short for picture elements. When zooming in or enlarging a bitmap image, the pixels are stretched and made into larger blocks. This is why bitmap images appear as poor quality when enlarged too much. And this is what happens when you stretch your image and you start to see the little blocks forming. Okay, because you're pixelating your image and you're stretching it too much. Can you now get that copied down, please? Bullet point 2 and 3, and I'll give you a minute and a half to do that. So a vector image uses scalable shapes such as straight lines and curves using coordinates and geometry to precisely define the parts of the image. It's more efficient than bitmaps at storing large areas of the same color, because it does not need to store every pixel as a bitmap does. Vector graphics can be scaled without losing resolution. They can be enlarged or reduced in size, but the file size will stay almost exactly the same. And again, I'll just give you a minute and a half to get bullet point 2 and 3 down, please. Right, now we're just going to finish off by doing some exam questions, so just make sure you put exam questions as a little subheading, please. Right, number 1, define what is meant by a pixel. That's going to be very useful if you write the question out. It's good practice, and then make sure you write your answer in a full sentence. Number 2, define what is meant by resolution. Moving on to number 3 and 4, make sure you read that statement first. Files are often compressed before they are sent over the internet. So the third question is state what is meant by compression. And number 4, give one advantage of compressing files before sending them over the internet. Now you'll realise that all of them are just worth 1 mark, so you should be writing about a sentence or 2. Definitely no more than 2. I'll give you 3 minutes to get them done. Off you go. And you've got 1 minute left now. define what is meant by a pixel. Now the answers are in red there, so give yourself a tick or a cross, or correct it if you need to. A pixel is a single coloured dot in a bitmap image. Pixels are usually arranged in a two-dimensional grid to make up a picture. Number 2, define what is meant by resolution. So resolution is a measure of how many pixels are used in a given area. They tell you how dense and therefore how detailed the image is. Files are often compressed before they are sent over the internet. Number 3, state what is meant by compression. So it's an algorithm which reduces the size of a file. And number 4, give one advantage of compressing files before sending them over the internet. One advantage is that it transmits more quickly, and another one is that it uses less bandwidth. So give yourself a mark out of 4 there. Please remember each one was worth 1 mark, and hopefully all got 4 out of 4 or 3 out of 4. And that is your lesson images over. So thank you for listening, and I hope to see you soon.